Live, preparing to live stream, and setting up your meeting. And here we go. Okay, so got it. Okie dokie. So we're gonna start with who we have here, and then as people join, they will join. Let's start like we usually start with a round of gratitude. Leib Moshe, would you like to start for us?
Yes, I'm grateful that I was able to get into the meeting after the problem I'm having with my email, my Gmail account. So it's nice to be here with you for the final lesson.
Good, glad that worked. Debbie, would you like to share something? I think it might have to do with the color of your shirt.
You're right. We're like chickens, right? Yellow. But anyway, yes, so I'm excited to be working here. It's 3 years that I've actually volunteered at the Miami Open for tennis. And it's just an experience. It's just great. You know, the whole thing for us as volunteers, as ambassadors, is to treat everybody with kindness, respect. We're here to help people out. And that's really what's most important. There's no argument, no nothing. You just want to make sure everyone's satisfied, yet you still have to be firm that you're doing the job that you're assigned to as a volunteer. So I learned a lot today, and I'm going to have an A+ at the end of the day.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
What could you have learned on this job that 22 years in the police force didn't teach?
Okay, so just because this has to do with tennis, so there's just things like learning that set, like the odd numbers. This is like something for tennis and all that today. Like session 3 is always daytime. Those are the odd numbers. Session 4 is the evening. So the purple bands are the 72 club. So you just get to learn the fine little points. I ask a lot of questions. So this way I can be very informative, because when people are here visiting and they need information, you can direct them. So that's why I like to be a wealth of information and ask. Even though they train us, you don't get to learn everything. So really not related to police work, other than maybe like the detail that you learn, and you want to be able to provide the resources to people. That's all.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. We're glad you were able to make it. Annette, would you like to share something that you are grateful for today?
I'm just grateful for everybody's life.
Everybody's life. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank God, Baruch Hashem. We are all alive. We are all breathing. We are all here together. Joan, would you like to share something that you're grateful for today?
Today I learned that Susie's brother went from 99 pounds to 100, I think 105, which is fabulous. This place that he's going to, you know, where he's living now, it is terrific. They're really looking out for him, doing for him, seeing what needs to be done. And we're very thankful for this long-term care situation that he's in.
Good. Very good. Very happy to hear that. Matt, would you like to share something that you are grateful for today?
Sure, thank you. I'm grateful for the invitation to join you all tonight. I've had a day off, so I think you're the third people that I'm talking to today. I haven't done a whole lot of talking today, so it's nice to listen and contribute and participate and join you, I think, which is the last class of this particular of this class study. And I also was playing tennis on the previous Wednesday, so continuing on the tennis theme. Tennis is over, and it's time for some other intellectual stimulation.
Okay, thank you. And would you like to share your name? Not everybody here knows you yet.
Yeah, I'm Matthew Shale. Moshe Chaim Shale.
Moshe Chaim Shale. Beautiful. Okie dokie. So let's jump right in, lesson 6, and we will start with a story as we usually do. Today we're going to start with 2 stories, actually. So there was a rabbi, a priest, and a minister, and they were all discussing, they may have been in a bar. They were all discussing their great powers and, you know, all the things that they were good at. And they decided that they're going to come up with a competition. They're going to see who's going to be able to convert a bear. Well, the next week, they all joined back together in the meeting spot. And the priest says, well, I came across this bear and I sprinkled holy water on him. And next week is his first communion. Well, pretty good. The minister says, well, I saw this bear and then I made him go into this lake of water and I baptized him. Okay. They look at the rabbi from head to toe in a full body cast, laying there in a gurney. And he says, well, I guess I should not have started with circumcision.
No.
Okay, so, and the other one was, there was this great child psychologist who was very well known for his opinions that children, no matter what they do, should be loved. And no matter what they're going through, or no matter what actions they take, they are learning and they are deserving only of love. And kids do not do anything out of evil. Well, one day, sure enough, this famous psychologist is having his driveway redone. And the people come and they pour the concrete and they smooth it out, and he spends a lot of money and he does everything to make sure that it's all working properly. And these kids who live next door, on their way home from school, stomp through the freshly paved concrete to make their footsteps, and they start putting their names, you know what kids do. And this man sees them from the window and he comes out and he starts screaming at them and hollering at them. And one of the other neighbors comes and says, aren't you the one who says that kids are so great and they do nothing out of evil? Why are you screaming like that? He says, you have to understand, I love children in the abstract, not in the concrete.
Oh, wow.
Gotta write that line down.
If you're
Okay.
going to tell jokes like that, I've got one for you.
Please.
A rabbit, a priest, and a minister go into a bar. The bartender says to the rabbit, what do you have? The rabbit says, I don't know. I'm just here because of autocorrect.
Good, good, very good. Today, once again, we will start off with praying for peace, for safety, for shalom, for our brothers and sisters across the entire world. Tonight, we have a very special session, and we saved the best for last, as usual. We're going to start with a little bit of a recap. This course was all about authentic Jewish meditation. And we started by going through the 3 types of Jewish meditation: hitbonenut, hitbodedut, and kavana. So if we remember, hitbodedut was seclusion, removing all thoughts from one's mind, clearing out all of the mud, clearing out all of the distraction, so that we can be clear to focus our minds on spiritual truth. Sorry, I'm just going to move this a little bit. Okay. The second one, hitbonenut, was about attaching ourselves to a spiritual truth and turning it over in our minds, delving deeply into this spiritual truth till it awakens a feeling within us, and everything else becomes falls to the wayside. And we delved into that a lot in lessons 3 and lesson 4 about the divine energy, going over the divine energy that resides within everything around us. And then we had the kavana, which is focusing our thoughts in order to achieve desirable outcome. We spoke about that in lesson 1 for very practical things. And then we last week spoke about how thinking certain thoughts before any mundane action that we take can be uplifting and can make everything that we do much more meaningful. So today, as today is going to be the final step in this journey. As Neil Armstrong said, it is going to be a great leap forward, a giant leap forward. Was that the quote? How did he say it? A giant leap forward. Sorry?
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Something like that, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be, thank you. So it will be one more step, but it will take everything that we've learned so much further. So far, the meditation, again, the way that we've been translating meditation is focusing on something to the extent until it has an effect on ourselves, either on our hearts or on our actions. So until now, in the last 5 sessions, our meditation has started in our mind and gone from our mind to our hearts and then possibly into our actions as well. Today, what we're going to learn about is a meditation that starts with action. We're going to call it meditation by movement. It's going to be feelings fueled by action. Doing something to create a feeling within you. And we will be unpacking that tonight. We will be going forward in 3 acts as we have in the past. Act number 1, I love you, God. Act number 2, movement and meditation. Act number 3, what we've learned. So thank you for being here. Buckle up and let's dive right in. Put your snorkeling gear on and we are about to dive straight under. But first, one more thing. We've spoken a lot about Jewish meditation and how meditation fits into Judaism. Last session, we also spoke a lot about a specific kind of meditation and how that fits into Judaism. At the end of the day, it might still feel a little bit forced. It might still feel a little bit forced. Is meditation really such a foundational aspect of Judaism? Let me ask you a question for the crowd. Please feel free to unmute yourselves and jump in. What is the main thing of Judaism?
Love of God.
Love of God.
Knowing that God is everywhere in everything, and like just everything is God.
Knowing that everything is God, that God is everywhere and in everything. Anyone else? What is Judaism?
The biggest concept of Judaism that it brought to the world was the concept of monotheism.
Monotheism, belief in one God.
Judaism is also a family. We're all one family, all the Jews.
Family. We're one family of Jews. What is Yiddishkeit? What is Judaism? Anyone else? What is the main focus of Judaism, the main point of Judaism?
Compassion, kindness.
I'm sorry, Annette, we didn't hear you.
Compassion, kindness, love.
Compassion, kindness, and love.
To mindfully be kind, compassionate, and love God.
Okay. Adding mindful to that. Anyone else? I'm looking for something else as well.
Yeah, looks like it.
Devotion.
Devotion. Devotion is good. Oh, these are all good and these are all true. I am looking for something else. What is the main purpose of Judaism? What is the main idea of Judaism, or the main? Well, what is Judaism looking for? Annette, I see that you've unmuted yourself.
Being grateful.
Being grateful. Debbie, I see that. Prayer.
Maybe prayer. I know that's not what it is. But
Debbie saying prayer. Prayer is closer.
Devote our lives to God.
To devote our lives to God.
A Jewish way of life.
The Jewish way of life. Okay, prayer, a Jewish way of life, devoting ourselves to God. We're all getting closer and closer.
Yiddishkeit is. Yiddishkeit literally means Jewishness.
And
Bagel,
what does it
cream
mean to
cheese,
be a
and
Jew?
lox.
Bagels, cream cheese, and lox. Very good. What does it mean to be a Jew?
Means you're Michiganer.
Thank you, Lev Moshe. Okay, so what I was looking for, you guys all gave very good answers and very deep answers. And what I was looking for was the word mitzvah.
That's
I said that, but you ignored me.
You said that?
Yes, I said mitzvot.
I'm sorry, you must have been talking when someone else was talking. I did not hear that come through. Yes, Lev Moshe, the correct answer is mitzvah, mitzvot. That's what we're going to be looking at over here. I apologize, Lev Moshe. Mitzvot, mitzvahs. Mitzvahs are the main focus of Judaism. So while the Seder is about gratitude and about loving God and about praying to God and about devotion and kindness and family, the main thing of the Seder is to make sure that we eat our matzah and drink our wine. So Judaism is, I sometimes say this, and Judaism is not a religion. And usually I get the faces that I'm getting now. What do you mean Judaism is not a religion? Well, if a religion is a faith, a belief system, then Judaism is not that. We do have faith and we do have beliefs, but at its core, it is essentially an action-based way of life.
So in other words, part of the real world.
Yeah, it is, exactly. And it's a divine code of conduct that goes from everything. It goes till the way we tie our shoes in the morning, or if you're going bowling, the way you tie your shoes at night. Everything that is done, there's a Jewish way to do it. So it's all about action. Judaism is a very, very, very heavily focused on action.
So if I may, how do mitzvot relate to meditation?
Say that one more time, please.
How does performing mitzvot pertain to meditation, to Jewish meditation?
Oh, very good. So Lev Moshe is getting to where our question is going, which is, where does meditation fit in? Right? We've been going on for 5 sessions about meditation. But if the whole focus, the primary focus of Judaism is action, the mitzvahs that we do, then how are we being so presumptuous as to come forth and to suggest that Jewish meditation is an essential part of Judaism? So that's the big question that we're going to answer tonight. But first, we're going to support the view that we are bringing up over here, that mitzvahs is the most important thing. Who here has their textbooks in front of them?
I do.
Yeah.
Lev Moshe, would you like to read for us text number 1, page 183?
Yes. The essential thing is not study, but deed.
Okay. The essential thing is not study, but deed. That very much seems to support what we're saying here, that study, meditation are all not the essential thing. The essential thing is deed, action, putting on the tefillin, lighting the Shabbos candles, eating the matzah, drinking the wine, etc., etc. So, if the bottom line is action, where does meditation fit in? And here are the 2 big ideas that we're going to discuss tonight. The answer is yes. Yes. The core and the essential part of Judaism and the bottom line is action. But number 1, in order to do a mitzvah, you need meditation. Any mitzvah. In order to do a mitzvah, you need meditation. And number 2, the mitzvah itself is meditation. These are the 2 big ideas that we're going to develop tonight. So indeed, action is the bottom line. And Judaism is all about action. But in order to have a mitzvah, you need meditation. And that's why meditation becomes so important. Is that clear so far?
No.
No. Okay, good, because we haven't discussed it yet. So let's jump in. Let's jump in. Act 1, I love you, God. Let's say there's a lady and she happens to be Jewish. And she happens to be having a reunion for her class, her graduating class, and they're making a reunion. That happens to be that Friday night is the time that works for everyone, that works best for everyone. They're off of work, they take the weekend together. And so Friday night, she's hosting in her house a grand reunion for her class. And she's setting everything up and putting out the tablecloths and the tables. And she's setting up the food and the plates and the cutlery. And then she decides, you know what? I think it would add a really beautiful touch if we had some candles burning on the table. And so she takes some candles and puts them on the table, and she takes a match and she lights them. And it happens to be Friday afternoon, shortly before sunset, that she lights these candles. It's a beautiful dinner, very, very sweet, and the candles added such a nice touch to the ambiance of the room. And the question for you guys is, did she do a mitzvah?
Yes.
I mean, by lighting the candles?
By lighting the candles. Moshe says yes.
It was an intentional act.
I say, I believe it's no in the sense, because it's not, if I'm not mistaken, it's not just the action, but it's like the prayer, like you want to like meditate and be mindful before you do it and like while you're doing it, you know, because it's not just putting the match to the wick, but it's being prayerful of it, being mindful at the moment that you're doing something that's godly, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, so Debbie is saying that she did not do a mitzvah because, true, she lit the candles, but she did not make the blessing beforehand, and she did not do it for God.
Right. Right. The
Joan wanted to
wasn't
say
there.
something similar.
Yeah, right. The intent wasn't there to link with God.
The intent wasn't there, and Leib Moshe wanted to say something different.
No, I was saying the same thing that Joan just said. It's the intention.
It's the intention.
To perform a mitzvah.
I apologize. In the beginning, it sounded like you were saying that she did a mitzvah.
I did.
Okay.
And I considered what we were saying.
Okay, so Leib Moshe has two answers. One is that no, she did not do the mitzvah, and one is yes, she did do the mitzvah because the candles were lit.
He's burning his candle from both ends.
Is there anyone else who would like to share an opinion on the matter?
Wouldn't just the action of lighting the candles be an action in and of itself towards taking action? Just opening up the parameters of just taking action of lighting candles, whether it's intent or whether it's saying the prayer, the actual lighting of the room, the actual lighting of the wick.
So it sounds like Matt is saying that we just learned that the essential thing is not study but deed. So therefore the action itself should be counted even though she had no prayer and no intent. So I'm very proud of you all. We have a lot of Talmudic scholars here tonight because this is a debate that is had indeed in the Talmud. And the Talmud has this discussion. The Talmud goes through an analysis, not on this exact question, but in general. Does a mitzvah have to have intention or not?
So it's debated even among the scholars.
What do you mean even among the scholars? We just had a debate among the scholars.
Among the Jewish scholars, or the real tzaddiks.
Okay, yeah, among the Talmudic studies, yes. So the Talmud discusses this, and the final answer is that indeed, a mitzvah does need to have intention in order to be considered a mitzvah. That's the final answer. There are some exceptions, which would in general, the exceptions are mitzvahs that, that benefit the body. For example, eating food mitzvahs and such like, that at the end of the day, because you benefited and you enjoyed it, that counts as a certain amount of intention. But that's the nuances. So in general, the answer is that a mitzvah, unless it's done with intention, is not considered to have been done. For example, if you have someone who's walking, let's say, through the flea market, or the how do you call it, the where they have the farmers market, right? Let's say you have a farmers market and you have some Chabad rabbi sets up on Sukkot a lulav and etrog and the the 4 species that we shake together. And this guy is walking by and he happens to be Jewish and he sees some flowers on the table and he picks them up to see, what are they? And he puts them back down on the table. If he doesn't know that it's a mitzvah to pick them up and shake them, then he has not done a mitzvah. That's the final consensus. So the exceptions to that are something that has bodily enjoyment or charity. Tzedakah is also an exception. If you were getting out of your car and you had to take your phone out and a $10 bill slipped out of your pocket and fell on the floor, and you drove off, you didn't realize, and someone who needed the money found the money on the floor and picked it up and used it to buy themselves food, let's say, even though you don't know that it happened, not only do you not know that you gave charity, you're upset that you lost the money. You lost $10 and you don't know where it went. You can't find it, and you're a little zufleigen and zumisht about it. But you have done a mitzvah of charity because at the end of the day, the poor man was fed. The poor man doesn't care for your intentions. He cares for the tuna sandwich or whatever it is that he bought. So the mitzvah of charity, the mitzvah of tzedakah, is also an exception. Let's look at text number 2. Who else has their book with them? Joan.
To fulfill the mitzvah obligation, we must actively intend to observe that mitzvah. Therefore, if we observe a mitzvah unwittingly or for a purpose other than to perform a mitzvah, we have not fulfilled the mitzvah at all. Some Torah authorities disagree and opine that mitzvot do not require intent and are fulfilled even when performed unwittingly. However, the final law sides with the former opinion.
Okay, thank you, Joan. So here we have from the Alter Rebbe, from the Code of Jewish Law, that a mitzvah must be done with intent. So we really have to understand this. We have to understand, why does a mitzvah have to be done with intent? What are the two sides of the coin over here? Why would we think that it's okay without intention? And why is the final answer that it must be done with intention? And once we understand that, we'll understand where meditation fits in and why meditation fits in and why it's so important. In other words, if we understand what the two sides are, we'll have a better understanding of why they hold of their opinions and why the law sides with the opinion that at the end of the day, you must have intention. So what is it? The two sides are as follows. Are the mitzvahs a divine checklist or something deeper? Does God have a big checklist on his wall of things that he wants done? And then no matter who did it, no matter how it was done, if it was done, it was done. And if it wasn't, it wasn't. And therefore, no matter what intention you had or what intention you didn't have, so gesund.
Thank you.
No matter what intention you had or didn't have, the mitzvah was done. The checklist was checked. Or is there something deeper going on? So what is that something that is different? What is that something that is deeper? The opinion that it just needs to get done, we understand. God wants it to be done, so it gets done. It doesn't matter who does it, doesn't matter how they do it. It needs to be done. God wants candles lit, candles are lit. Could even say God wants candles to be lit by a Jewish woman. Okay, candles are lit by a Jewish woman. There's no Jewish woman in the house. God wants lit candles lit by a Jewish man. Okay, candles were lit by a Jewish man. No intention needed. Candles are lit. But perhaps there's something deeper. Let's dive in. Language matters. Language matters. What does mitzvah mean? Anybody know? What does mitzvah mean?
Read text 3.
Not yet,
Right.
not yet. Don't jump ahead.
Right, it's right there.
Sorry, go ahead, Debbie.
A mitzvah, like a blessing.
A mitzvah is a blessing.
Good deed, no?
A mitzvah is a good deed.
It's a connection with God.
Mitzvah is a connection with God.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So these are all good answers, and we're going to look at the translation of the word mitzvah. Is there anyone else who has their textbook in front of them? Debbie or Annette, do you have either of you have your textbook with you and would like to read?
I do not, because I'm hands-free.
Don't make Debbie read. She's driving. You don't want to be responsible for any accidents.
Right.
Okay.
Mine is in the car.
Annette's is in the car. So if we have Debbie's car and Annette's car together, then we'll have a textbook. Okay. So Leib Moshe, would you like to read text number 3 for us?
Okay. The word mitzvah means a connection, as in the Aramaic word savta, which means attach or join, not to be mistaken for savta, which means grandmother.
Ad lib.
One who performs a mitzvah bonds with God's very self, for God is the issuer of that commandment.
Continue on.
The significance of our sage's statement, the reward of a mitzvah is the mitzvah, the bonding of the mortal who performs the commandment with the infinite God who issued the commandment is itself the greatest reward.
Okay. Thank you. So while a mitzvah has various definitions and many explanations and understandings, the word mitzvah comes from, or the translation that we are going to be looking at is the word mitzvah as it means a connection. A mitzvah is a connection with God. And once we understand that a little deeper, we'll understand where the meditation fits in. So, is anyone here familiar with a book called 5 Languages of Love? So, the author of this book suggests that everyone has a different way that they appreciate being loved and a different way that they feel good loving. And he suggests that there are 5 languages of love. And the way he breaks it down, again, this is for demonstrative purposes. It could be different, it could be more, it could be less, but it's in general, his book is accepted among many people. So, or her book, I'm not sure who wrote it actually. So the 5 languages of love are, number 1, words of affirmation. There are some people who, for them, they feel loved when they are spoken to in nice words affirming their kindness, their sensitivity, etc., etc. And there are people who feel good loving by giving words of affirmation. And that's their form of giving love. Number 2 is quality time. There are some people who feel loved, or their main way of feeling love. These are all loving things, but their main language of love is quality time, spending time together. Number 3 is gifts. Giving a gift feels good to love someone. You give them a gift, or receiving a gift feels good. Number 4, physical touch. Number 5 is acts of service. So this is how he breaks it down. What does it mean, an act of service? Let's focus on that. This number 5, an act of service. What is an act of service? An act of service means you went out of your way to do something for someone else. right?
Right.
So this is, in a sense, what a mitzvah is. An act of service that we are doing for God. We are going out of our way to do something for God. And God finds that lovely. God wants our mitzvahs, our acts of service for him. And that's how we show love to God.
That's a very deep and beautiful concept.
And we're gonna get a little more into it because it's especially deep and especially beautiful and especially meaningful when we're trying to connect with an infinite creator. Right? So the words finite and infinite are sometimes hard to imagine. So let's go a little bit closer. Imagine an ant wanted to get your attention. What could an ant do to, like, not your ant like your parents' siblings, but an ant like the little crawly thing? What could an ant do to make you feel good, to make you feel loved? Debbie, I see you unmuted yourself.
Oh, what would an ant, the bug, an ant do to make, you said a bug?
Yeah, the little bug, the little ant. Is there
What would-
something that an ant could do to make you feel loved?
Yes, leave my house.
To what?
To leave my
Yeah.
house, he said.
Leave your house. Not eat my food.
Bite me.
No,
Right.
that's not.
I'm
that's
only kidding.
attention.
So I'm trying to, to kind of relate us to God as the significance of an ant to a human being, where there is no connection between the two of us.
Right.
There's nothing that an ant can do to make me feel good, and there's no reason why I would want to have anything to do with an ant. Now, if there was a way for me to let the ants know that there's a little sticky, gooey piece of something in the corner of my house that I'm not able to get to, and I would be able to send them a message that my broom doesn't reach the corner. If you ants could team together and go and take that gooey mess and get it out of here, that would mean a lot to me. And then they would go ahead and do it. Now there's a connection because I asked them to do something and they did it. Does that make sense?
Yes, we are like ants to God.
So I don't want to say completely that analogy, but in the analogy of it, we have nothing in common with God. As mortal beings, creations, there is no way for us to connect to God. We are not special to God. But that's before God gave us the instruction manual. Now, with the mitzvah, God told us about all those little sticky, gooey places in the house, right? God told us about all the different things that he'd like us to do. And we get to connect to him. And when we do one of those things, we become very significant to God. Because he's asked us a favor, and we're doing that. And we're fulfilling that. And we are now very much taking up space in his mind. And we are not only have we come into existence, but we have even given him something that he's asking for. We have given him love, and he receives that love. Is that making sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, good. So when we look at a mitzvah as an act of service, when we look at a mitzvah as God said, this is my language of love, and here are the ways that you can love me, and we go ahead and we love him, that's a mitzvah, that's a connection, that's powerful.
It's a profound act.
Correct. That's a beautiful word. Yes, it is a profound act. So that's what a mitzvah is. Now, let's give some examples over here, right? So Okay. Let's say your wife, let's say you have a wife and she really enjoys, let's say there's a man and a woman who are married, and the wife appreciates a tidy lawn, and when a well-kept lawn, and the husband goes out and mows the lawn. That's an act of service. And that deepens and strengthens the relationship from the husband's side because he did something for his wife, and from the wife's side because the husband did something for her. Right? So it's an act of giving love, an act of receiving love, and everybody's very happy. The relationship is growing deeper. Now, let's say there was his lawnmower all of a sudden turned on by itself and ran around the backyard and cleaned up all the stuff and mowed the lawn. You're gonna have the same final product of a mowed lawn, but there was nothing done there for the relationship.
You know what's a better analogy? These robotic vacuums that go around.
That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, very good. So you have the robotic vacuums. Thank you, Moshe and Debbie, that clean the house for you. So there's no connection there, right? Let's say there's a husband knows that his wife likes to clean dishes, so he goes and he washes the dishes for her. So then there's a connection there. Now, if it was a cleaning lady or a dishwasher who cleaned those dishes, or one last example, let's say there's a woman and she loves flowers. And if her husband goes and buys flowers and brings it to her, it's beautiful and it means so much. And she got the flowers. Now, let's say there was another man who brought her flowers. It wouldn't have the same effect, and there might be someone ending up with a black eye. But why? She loves flowers. She loves flowers, and this guy brought her flowers. What happened over here? She doesn't love flowers. She loves her husband. She loves getting things from her husband. So when her husband brings her flowers, it's beautiful. But if the flowers got there by something else or someone else, it means nothing, or perhaps even worse than that. So let's tie that back into the mitzvah story. Is it about the light, or is it about the connection? Right, back to our story of this Friday night class gathering, reunion. If it's about the light is there. If it's about the connection, there was no thought of God there. It was not done for God at all. So this needs some intentionality. To have connection, to have meaning, for the mitzvah to really be a mitzvah, for the mitzvah to be an act of service for God, you got to be thinking about God.
So an example of mitzvah would be us attending this class and learning, because it's done with intentionality.
Correct. Learning Torah, coming and spending time. Correct. So if it's something random, right? Somebody went and tripped and fell on the floor, and a rock went flying, and it happened to be a Flintstone, and it hit another rock, and then the spark went out and lit a candle. So if it just needs to happen, well, the candle was lit. But if it's about a relationship, there's no relationship there. There's nothing there that's building the relationship or making it stronger. So when we said that the essential thing is not study but deed, when we said that the essential core of Judaism is mitzvot, those mitzvot come along with meditation, because the acts alone are not necessarily a mitzvah. And this also explains why we say a blessing. We slow down. We pause for a moment before we eat and before we do a mitzvah. Almost every mitzvah, before we do the mitzvah, we make a blessing. Before we light Shabbat candles, make a blessing. Before we put on tefillin, we make a blessing. We pause for a moment to think about what we're about to do. And you don't have to have such a deep Kabbalistic intention, right, before lighting the candles, of what are the characteristics of light. Characteristics of light, and what does Shabbat mean, and what does the world mean, and what does it mean to to welcome in the Shabbat by bringing in light into the world and setting aside all of our worldly matters and bringing in the light and the Shabbat. It doesn't have to be that deep. It could just be very simple. And the simplest form, so every mitzvah has its own meditation and its own understanding and its own focus. But a general thought before the mitzvah is good enough and works. A general thought that, God, you want me to do this, and I'm doing it for you. And that makes it count. And that's pretty much what the blessing is. Asher Kedeshanu b'mitzvah, we say, blessed are you, the Lord, King of the universe, who has sanctified us with his commandments and commanded us regarding the lighting of the Shabbat candles, the donning of tefillin, etc., etc. So the blessing itself is enough of a brief meditation. Thank you, God, for giving me the opportunity to connect to you. I'm doing this for you. And then to go ahead and do the mitzvah. Yes, Joe.
But the prayer could even be done mindlessly. So even the prayer has to be done with thinking about it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So let's look at text number 4. Joan, would you please, but before we get there, Don and Debbie were discussing their wallpaper, which had just been hung. Don was very annoyed at Debbie's indifference to what he felt was a poor job. The problem is that I'm a perfectionist and you're not, he finally says with exasperation to his wife. That's the problem. I'm a perfectionist and you're not. That's why we can't agree on this. And she says, exactly. That's why you married me and I married you. Okay. So let's look at text number 4. Joan, please read for us text number 4.
This is the inner significance of the blessing recited prior to performing a mitzvah. Blessed are you who sanctified us with his mitzvot. In Hebrew, the term kiddush means both sanctification and betrothal. Though performing a mitzvah, we are bound to God like a man betrothing his wife for the sake of being intimately united with each other. As the Torah states regarding the bonding of the first human couple, he shall cleave to his wife and they shall become one flesh. When we study the Torah or perform a commandment, we achieve a similar, indeed an infinitely deeper and truer unity between our soul, along with all of its elements, and God's absolutely infinite light.
Okay, thank you, Joan. So here we have it.
Amazing.
Doesn't that put everything in such a different light?
Yes, it does.
Every mitzvah is about a relationship. Now every mitzvah becomes romantic. Every mitzvah becomes about us connecting with God.
But on the level of the intimacy that this describes, that's really an amazing connection with God.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely powerful. Such a connection with God that nothing else can bring. And we get to do that every time we do a mitzvah. We get that connection with God. And it's even ever more powerful as we think about how we pale in significance before God. Yet we have the opportunity to have an intimate relationship, a deep personal relationship with the creator of the world whenever we want. Multiple times throughout the day. That connection to God. So to summarize, what we've said so far in the first part of tonight's class is that yes, Judaism is and mitzvahs are about getting things done. But why are we doing them? Without intention, it's not, without intention, it's not counted. One more example, let's say a husband brings, again, flowers to his wife. He's going home and he sees there's someone, a street vendor on the corner selling flowers. It's a nice bouquet of flowers. It happens to be that it's their anniversary, but he doesn't remember that. And he goes and he comes home and he says, "Here, honey, I have flowers." And she wants to test him. So she says, "Oh, so sweet of you. Why did you bring flowers today? What's so special?" He says, "Any day is a good day for flowers." Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So that's what mitzvahs are. Mitzvahs are to make sure we don't make that mistake. And the meditation, is there to make sure that we don't make that mistake. That when we do a mitzvah, we are connecting. When we do a mitzvah, we are connecting with Hashem. And in order for the mitzvahs to work, we have to be mindful. So yes, indeed, we have explained and discovered why meditation is so central to Judaism, because without meditation, we don't have mitzvahs. And through the process of exploring how deeply a mitzvah connects us with Hashem. Number two. Well, how did we call number two? We said number two was going to be movement and meditation. Movement and meditation. This is the second big idea of tonight's class. Each mitzvah itself is a meditation, in the form of meditation being either to think of something, and now we're going to say to do something that changes the way you think or act. Every mitzvah refines us and our minds and our actions in a certain way. Let's say you're not feeling so good. You're feeling a little bit down. It happens to all of us. We have our up days, we have our down days. So let's say you're feeling a little downcast, and you want to get happy. So there's kind of two ways that you can do this. Number one is you can sit and meditate. You can think about why it's not good to be sad and why it is good to be happy. And then focus on happy thoughts and think about things that make you feel good and feel happy inside until you get to a point where you start actually feeling happy inside and your heart is feeling good and your whole disposition is changing and you're getting better and better until you stand up from your couch and you start to dance because you're of sheer joy from what you're thinking about. That's one way to get from a state of sadness to a state of happiness. Or there's another way. Turn on the music. Start dancing. And chances are within a very short while, you will feel a lot better than you did before. So there's also two ways of our thought processes and our meditative system as it pertains to mitzvahs. So we could meditate on an idea, which will lead us to feel closer to God, and then do more mitzvahs. Or we could go ahead and do mitzvahs, and that itself will make us feel closer to God. We're going to read now some texts from Maimonides and Nachmanides, which in the Hebrew is the Rambam and the Ramban, on this concept of using mitzvahs to change ourselves. This is fascinating as well. Debbie, once you have your book in front of you, if you're home, you can let us know. And we have some texts ahead of us. If you need another minute, we can give you another minute for the next text, whatever is best for you. I think you're on mute, so we see you, but we don't hear you.
Sorry.
Oh, there we go.
So, yeah, I'll do the next one. I have my book. So,
Okay.
you'll just let me know what page and I'm ready to read.
Okay, perfect. This is going to be on page 189.
Okay. So 189. Perfect. I have it. And acts of refinement, active meditations.
Acts of refinement. Yeah.
Okay. Our sages state that the mitzvot were given only to refine the person. Midrash Bershet Rabbah, the purpose of the mitzvot is not to benefit God, but rather to benefit humankind, to keep them safe from harm, to shield them from negative beliefs and base character traits, to remind them of the miracles and wonders of the Creator, and to help them know God. Continue.
Please.
The Midrash employs the term sarif
Mm-hmm.
for refining, which usually refers to refining silver. This informs us that the mitzvah refine mortals in a similar way to the way a silversmith refines silver. Silver refinement is a purposeful task done for the sake of removing all impurities. Similarly, the mitzvot are designed to remove every harmful belief from our hearts to inform us of the truth and to enable us to be constantly mindful of the truth.
Thank you, Debbie.
You're welcome.
So Nachmanides, Rabbi Moshe ben Nachman over here, is telling us that what is a mitzvah? A mitzvah is to refine us, to change our minds, and to uplift us from where we were and put us in a better place. Actions, mitzvah, actions, and we're going to get into some examples soon. Actions, mitzvah, are here to change the way we feel and change the way we think. Uplift. Leib Moshe, would you like to read for us text number 6?
Okay. Communicating ideals. Each of the 613 commandments exists either to communicate a correct view or to dismiss an unhealthy view, to communicate a rule of justice or to ward off an injustice, to endow people with a noble moral quality or to warn them against a negative moral quality.
Thank you. So we see over here that every mitzvah, just like we were saying about meditation in the past 5 sessions, we've been learning how meditation is there to change the way we think about something, to change the way we feel about something. Mitzvahs do the same thing. Mitzvahs are here to elevate and refine our character trait, the way we feel about things, the way we act about things, the way we think about things. So there actually have been studies about this. And
May I ask, so are we saying that performing a mitzvot is an act of meditation?
exactly.
That's interesting.
Exactly. That's the second big idea of tonight, that a mitzvah itself is meditation. With the translation of meditation that we've been, a definition of meditation that we've been using the past few weeks, a mitzvah action itself is meditation. So there are studies, and you can try this on your own, that if you feel and act, if you act small, right? So you slouch your shoulders, sit forward like this and walk into a room and see the presence that you bring, or if you stand up straight and tall, or even if you lift your hands and make yourself bigger, it gives you more power and more presence and more confidence.
Yes.
So over here we see very clear and simple things that are actions that change the way we act, the way we think, and the way we feel. Just standing like this, walking into a room, will change your presence in the room, will change your feeling of confidence in the room, and the way you think about those around you, and the way you interpret what's going on and the way you react to everything around you. A similar study was done, and you can read up about this because there was a study done, and then there was a study that was made. They were trying to replicate the original study to see if it would pass or fail. And when they tried to replicate the study, it completely failed. And then someone else said, wait, what's going on? Why is there a difference between the first study and the second study? And came to the conclusion by a third study that the difference was that in the second study, the people were being videoed. So they knew that they were on tape and that they were being recorded. And that's why they had different outcomes. The study is like this. They had people watching short video clips of certain scenarios. And there were two groups of people, two different rooms. One group of people, they were all told to hold a pen in their mouth. Some of them were holding the pen like this. Others were holding the pen like this. And they watched these clips. And then afterwards, they were asked a series of questions about what they saw. The people who had the pens in their mouth like this, creating a natural frown, right? Try it. You feel a frown. They saw things in a very negative light. And the people who had their smiles up had a positive twist on the stories. So just a simple action of smiling or frowning could change your entire perception about what's going on around you. Hello. Could change your entire perception of what's going on. Isn't that incredible?
I was in sales, Rabbi.
Sorry?
I was in sales, and we were always told to smile. If you're on the phone talking to somebody, before you dial that number, you smile. And
That's right, dial and smile.
Yeah, what was that?
Dial and smile.
Yes, right.
Dial and smile. Very nice. Okay. So the same thing is with the mitzvahs. And we're going to look over here at some of the mitzvahs about how they train us and how they change us. So the first thing we're going to do is an introduction, and then we're going to get into some of the mitzvahs. Debbie, would you like to read for us text number 7? You're on mute again. Thank you.
Thank you. Action. Thank God we can hear, right? Actions influence attitude.
Mm-hmm.
And now, my child, I will enlighten you to appreciate the Torah and its precepts. You are influenced by your behavior and your feelings and thoughts consistently, and your thoughts consistently follow your actions, whether for the positive or the negative. Your actions have the power to overcome the negative inclination within you, since the attitudes of your heart are influenced by your behaviors.
Beautiful. Thank you, Debbie.
You're
Our
welcome.
actions influence us much more than we may think. The example that I was given for this often was if somebody is afraid of dogs, and every time they see a dog, they cross the road because they are afraid of being on the same side of the road as the dog. Every time they cross the road out of fear, they are intensifying their fear of dogs. Every time they take an action that affirms their fear, that fear gets stronger. Which might be why so many people say that if you have a fear, you got to just do it anyways. And eventually it'll feel better, which I don't know about the psychology of that. I haven't researched it. But what I do know is what the rabbis tell us about these following 5 mitzvahs and how each one of these mitzvahs, we don't unfortunately have time tonight to get into all 613, but we'll start with 5. Joan, would you like to read text number 9 for us, please? But before that, let's ask the crowd. tzedakah, charity. Before looking inside, what kind of effect do you think giving charity has in terms of character behavior, changing and uplifting your feelings and your thoughts?
Probably makes you feel very good.
Makes you feel good that you're giving?
Yeah.
Anyone else? How does it refine us, giving charity?
The repetitive action of giving charity over time changes you.
Repetitive action of giving makes you a more giving and helpful person, Debbie?
Because if you have, when you're giving and it's going to make a difference and that's your intent. So just knowing that you want to give because you really want to make that difference, and it's just being generous is what God wants us to do. And you just know that it's not going to make a difference in who you're giving to. It's just everything else around. It's just such a positive thing.
Okay, so giving charity makes you more ambitious and helps you realize that you have the power to change the world.
I would
Okay.
think you'd feel thankful too that you can do it, that you can help someone.
Yeah, very good. Yes, it helps us feel gratitude for what we have. So let's see what the Sefer HaChinuch writes over here. Please, Joan. One second. Matt, did you want to say something as well?
I was going to say the act of charity probably continues to refine us.
Just the act of giving.
Especially if it's done repeatedly. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. In fact, the Rambam Maimonides writes that if you have a certain amount that you're going to give, better to give it in many installments than to give it all at once, because the act of giving refines your arm, and every act connects you again to God. John, text number 9, please.
The root of the mitzvah to lend to the poor is that God desired that his creatures become accustomed and train themselves in the characteristics of kindness and mercy, for these are praiseworthy characteristics. And through training our bodies to act according to positive traits, they will be worthy of receiving goodness. For as we have explained, goodness and blessing fall exclusively on the good. I don't believe, really? If it were not for this benefit, God could provide the poor with their needs without us. Rather, out of sheer kindness, the blessed God made us his messengers so that we can become meritorious through the process. Wow.
Beautiful.
I find that difficult.
There was a certain Roman aristocrat who came with many questions to Rabbi Akiva. And one of the questions he posed was, do you believe that God created a perfect world? If God created the world that some people are rich and some people are poor, how dare you give money to the poor person if God created them poor?
Yeah.
And Rabbi Akiva's response was, you fool. If a man has children and he wants them to learn to be kind and compassionate, so what does he do? He gives one more than the other to see what the one who has more is going to do.
But this is also saying the poor should be thankful they're poor so that they can help us be better people.
And the poor shouldn't be embarrassed to ask because they are doing a greater favor than the person who's giving the money. There's a story like this. I don't remember all the details, where there was a poor person who came to a rich person and asked them for money, and the rich miser said no. And it ended up happening through a certain series of events that all of the miser's money ended up going to the poor man. Because the money wasn't his. The money was deposited by him for him to hand out to the people who needed it. And so the poor man would have been doing him a greater favor by asking than he was doing by giving. I don't remember all the details of the story, but it's fascinating. Jonah, it seems like you're uneasy about this.
Well, it's a different way of looking at it. I would never have come up with.
The Alter Rebbe, Rabbi Shneir Zalman of Liadi, the founder of the Chabad Hasidic movement, and a group of his colleagues were discussing, they were sitting around and the discussion came up, if I were God, what would I have done differently? And one of them said, if I was God, I would have created the world without any suffering.
Yeah.
No, if I was God, I would have created a world without any evil. Each one saying their own, if they were God, what would they have done differently? And the Alter Rebbe said, if I was God and I knew what God knew, I would do exactly what he did.
Well, so I just can't understand everything, obviously, therefore.
Right. But we can't act on what he has given us. Question for everyone. Honoring your parents. What kind of good character traits could that instill within us? Question for the crowd. What kind of good character traits come to a person by virtue of the fact that they are fulfilling the mitzvah of honoring their parents?
As you said before, posing a good example for your own children or the other younger people who are following.
Okay, very good. We are creating an example for everyone else to see. What about for ourselves? Leib Moshe, would you like to see what the Sefer HaChinuch writes on this? Text number 10.
Sorry, I was muted. I had to unmute myself. You want me to read text 10?
Please. Yeah, text number 10, please.
Okay, honoring parents meditation. The root of the commandment for an individual to honor their father and mother is that it is fitting for a person to acknowledge and return kindness to those who provided goodness and to avoid becoming a selfish ingrate, an evil and repulsive attribute in the eyes of God and mortals alike. The mitzvah is designed to spur us to contemplate that our parents are the material cause of our existence in this world. It is therefore truly fitting to honor them in every way and to provide them with every benefit that is within our ability. For they brought us into the world and also toiled on our behalf in numerous ways when we were young.
Beautiful. Thank you, Leib Moshe. Shabbat. What is changed by us through keeping Shabbat? How does keeping Shabbat change ourselves, our beliefs, our character traits? Any thoughts on that?
In the same way that we're giving back to our parents, we're giving back to our Creator for having given us the benefit of being here to perform.
Beautiful. We're doing something for God.
Mm-hmm.
Being thankful to Him for creating our world. Joan, would you like to read for us text number 11?
The root of this commandment is to abstain from work on Shabbat. Is that we should free ourselves from our occupations to honor the day of Shabbat, thereby instilling in ourselves belief in God's creation of the universe. For this belief is the cord to which every foundation of our religion is attached.
Beautiful. So when we keep Shabbat, that creates within ourselves an inner understanding and an inner recognition of God's creation of the universe. That why do we rest on Shabbat? God worked for 6 days and rested on the seventh. So when we rest on the seventh, we are, through our body, reminding ourselves that there's a creator to this world. Text number 12. Debbie, are you available to read for us the Tefillin meditation? If you could just unmute yourself, and text number 12, page 196.
Thank you. Okay. Tefillin meditation. Among those commandments from God that are for the sake of molding thoughts in order to serve him in purity and the commandments of Tefillin. Tefillin are to be placed on the body in locations corresponding to the brain and the heart. Organs that are referred to as the seats of intellect and perception. Laying tefillin and contemplating their purpose leads to dedicating all thoughts to the good and leads to constantly remembering to be careful to calibrate all deeds in righteousness and justice.
Beautiful. Thank you, Debbie.
You're welcome.
And Leib Moshe, would you like to read for us text number 13 about mezuzahs? The mezuzah that we hang on our doorpost.
Yes, mezuzah meditation. We must be careful to observe the mitzvah of mezuzah, for it is an obligation that is constantly incumbent upon everyone. Through observing this precept, whenever we enter or leave our homes, we encounter the symbol of God's unity and recall our love for him. This activity shakes us awake from our spiritual slumber, our obsession with material vanities, so that we recognize that nothing we gain lasts forever except knowledge of the creator of the universe. This will spur us to regain proper mindful awareness and make upright decisions.
Wow, thank you. So we see here a small glimpse into the way that the mitzvahs affect us just by doing them. By doing these mitzvahs, they change the way we begin to feel about things, the way we begin to think about things, and we begin to see things differently. So how does meditation, back to the question we started with, how does meditation fit into Judaism if Judaism is all about action? Number one, in order for the action to count, it needs to be intentional. And number two, the action itself is meditation. So this leads us to the end of our journey. What a wonderful, wonderful journey we've had. It's been a great ride. And what we learned today, I think, changes everything. Meditation is central to Judaism, not just in its typically perceived form, but also vis-a-vis Jewish action. Judaism is centered around the 613 mitzvahs. Each is fueled by meditation, recognizing that this is a profound connection point with the divine, and also serves as an individual meditative awakening for us, refining us and our inner lives through our behavior. So meditation is indeed a mainstay in Judaism. Let's quickly recap what we've learned over the past 6 sessions. Jewish meditation, as we have explored it, helps us to stay in positive disposition, ward off negative emotions, and find our spiritual center, connect with the deeper purpose and mission, to live in the moment, to inform everything that we do for the better, and infuses life and vitality in the Jewish practice. I hope that you have been inspired by this course to practically use these tools that we've developed over the last 6 weeks of study to better yourself and deepen your Jewish connection. It won't just benefit you. It'll benefit the whole world. Because a world filled with people who are dedicated to self-improvement and connection to God is a world we all want to live in. A world that will be free of all the hate, all the anger, and all the suffering that we have now. May it be speedily with the coming of Mashiach. We have here a very fun, quick recap, something that we have not yet done in any of our previous courses, which is, maybe next time we can have everybody join individually from their own phones. But for today, we are going to, everyone, while I get this ready, you can please unmute yourselves, and we are going to have a quick recap game. And I am going to sign in over here. And let's make this go. Okie dokie. Let us share screen. And everyone can unmute yourselves. This is going to be a multiple choice, quick recap game. It'll be fun. It'll be fast paced. And you are welcome to call out the answers. Let's see how we do. Let me move this over here.
Come here, Stella.
There we go. And let us start. Okay, meditation from Sinai review. Is everybody able to see that screen?
Yes.
Who was the first Jew to meditate? Was it? Oops, this is blocking my screen. Is everyone able to see that?
Yes, Moses.
It was Abraham.
Okie dokie. Was it Moses, Abraham, Ramdas, or the Baal Shem Tov?
Abraham.
Abraham.
I say Abraham.
Abraham and Abraham. Why is it still loading over here? Abraham is
The answer.
Abraham is correct. Very good. Okie dokie. And next, question number 2. What is hitbonenut? An exotic nut from Israel. Facilitative meditation, cognitive meditation, or when you hit your funny bone.
Facilitative meditation. Well, cognitive meditation.
Yeah,
Oh,
cognitive meditation.
Cognitive meditation. You guys are very good. Well done. We can shape the reality outside of us through political lobbying, positivity meditation. We can't, or banging a gong and lighting incense.
Positivity meditation.
Positivity meditation, very good. We were learning how the way that we look at things, God looks at things too. 3 out of 3, very good. How many? This one's probably going to throw you off. How many locations around the world are we learning the exact same JLI course as we have been? 10 to 15, 50 to 100, 400 to 600, or 1,000 plus?
4. 100,000 plus, maybe?
Joan says 1,000 plus.
400 to 600.
10 to
400
15.
600. 10 to 15. Wow, we got a lot of different answers. The only one is 50 to 100 is not. So which one should we click? We got 3 different answers for 3 different people. Oh, we missed the time limit. 400 to 600 is the correct answer.
Okay.
Okie dokie. Every part of our lives can be sacred because God recreates the world intentionally every moment. Everything that
Yes.
happens is for a divine purpose. God is within every detail of the universe, or all of the above.
All of
All of the
the above.
above.
All of the above. Oops, I gotta click that on my phone before the timer goes off. There we go. Uh-oh, something went wrong. What? Sorry, my phone is having a little bit of an issue over here. Now, the correct answer is all of the above. And for some reason,
Time's out.
580-3788. 580-3788. Enter. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. And
We have here.
next. Oops. Okay. The 3 garments of the soul are Shirt, pants, and shoes. Intelligence, emotion, and action. Thought, speech, and action. Bones, skin, and flesh. Let me know the color.
Intelligence, emotion,
Blue.
and act.
Blue. Blue. Everyone say blue.
Yes.
No, maybe not. Thought, speech, action.
Thought,
Thought, speech,
and
action. Thought, speech, and action, maybe?
Yeah. Thought, speech, and action. The three
Yeah.
garments of the soul.
Yeah. Right. Studying that.
Jewish meditation is primarily a tool to make money, mystical experiences, abstract spiritual concepts and spiritual awareness, or make Judaism more attractive.
Make
Understand
choose.
abstract spiritual concepts.
Yes.
Yellow. I'm hearing a lot of yellow, and yellow is correct.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Very good. And in which city does Rabbi Label Wolf, the presenter of the meditation videos, live? Cape Town, Melbourne, Brooklyn, or Jerusalem?
Jerusalem or Brooklyn?
Jerusalem or Brooklyn?
Well,
I'm
knowing
gonna
you,
say-
it's probably Melbourne, Australia.
Melbourne.
Melbourne, Australia. We got two Melbournes, and Melbourne, Australia is correct. Next, in order to invest meditative intent into a mitzvah, the rabbis instituted breathing technique, a blessing, lotus position, or a kippah.
Blessing to be
Blessing.
recited before the mitzvah performance.
A blessing, blessing. Yes, very good.
Yeah.
And next, question number 10. You guys are doing great. How can you change your eating and make it sacred? Only organic. Sprinkle holy water, no carbs, or eat it with intent to release the holy potential.
That
The
Yes.
was
green one.
Green.
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 Mhm.
And green is correct.
Correct.
Very good. You guys are making us Olkvel. Question number 11. Which of the following rabbis were not quoted in this course? It's going to be a hard one. Rabbi Bachya ibn Fakuda, Rabbi Moses Cordovero, Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Liadi, or Rabbi Elio Hakon Ha'itamari.
Mhm.
I don't know the answer to this.
The red. The red.
Red.
It's a guess. We're
Red
on.
is not correct.
Everything
Blue is
blue.
correct. Rabbi Moses Cordovero. Okay, question number 12. Final question of today. According to Jewish mysticism, time is differentiated by the movement of the hands on a clock, your pulse, time is not real, or differing spiritual energies.
Differing spiritual energies.
Green. Do we have anyone else for green or any other color?
Blue.
Blue.
Green.
Green.
Or
Two green.
yellow.
And
Yay, it's the green.
okie dokie. Green. Okie dokie. Very good. So let us stop that share. And okay, very, very well done. Great drum roll. Maybe next time we can have it on each person's phone. That way, it's a very cool app. This, you just go, you put in the it's called Kahoot. It's pretty cool. Before we wrap up with the meditation video from Rabbi Label Wolf from Melbourne, Australia, and before we get into a short glimpse into the course that's starting after Passover, I would like to do something that we've done in the past that really gives us a time to reflect over the past 6 weeks and feel what were the main topics that we appreciated from the course, and also tells me what was your main focus and what did you appreciate most. If you would like to share, you're welcome to share. If you would not like to share, you are welcome to skip. The way that we do this is you have 60 seconds or less to sell this course to a friend. Why would you tell them they need this in their life? You need to join this course because. Let's take a minute to think about it and then we'll go around.
To understand how we connect with God in a spiritual way and achieve a deep and meaningful relationship with God.
This course, Leib Moshe says, will teach you how to connect with God and how to live a deeper, more connected life, spiritual. Anyone else, you're welcome to unmute and jump in as thoughts come to you.
Well, first of all, it's great listening to Rabbi Shmuley. It makes everything
you.
interesting and fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I wanted to mention was one of the questions was about making a bracha and having the intentionality to uplift the spiritual nature of what you're blessing. And I had an experience over Purim. We had a rabbi who came into my facility and he read part of the book of Esther, and then they handed out some gifts. And one of the gifts I got was a basket with all kinds of chocolates and candies, and in it was a bottle of Kedem grape juice. And when I got to the grape juice and I opened it, I made a bracha over the grape juice. And I remembering the learnings from the teachings from this course, I felt that sense of connection with making the grape juice holy, because by saying the bracha over it, it made everyone from the people who tended the grapes, the people who made it into grape juice, made all of them holy by using it for a holy and spiritual purpose.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Absolutely incredible. Thank you, Lev Moshe, for sharing that. Debbie, would you like to share?
Sure. So I would tell it, I like what Joan said, I like what everyone said, but just your teaching and your interacting to help us be more, to give us the knowledge of how we can connect with God and the importance of it, because like God is in everything, and to make you become more mindful and you could be more appreciative, and just the light that's just so positive in everything that you do and you bring into your life, everyone's life. But it's all it's like thanks to God, because he's seeing that we're acting, meditating, and doing everything like the way he would, the way it's supposed to be.
That was
Beautiful.
very well said,
So,
Debbie.
yeah, thank you, Debbie. That kind of like
you.
encapsulates everything.
Thank
And with a real focus on those weeks where, so Debbie's saying that this course will bring you to a realization and an understanding of the way that God is invested in the world, and everything around you is connected to God, and all the benefits that brings to life.
I've taken a number of courses with you, and I have to say that this course was the most profound and meaningful to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate your teaching it to us.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Thank you.
Annette, would you like to share?
I enjoyed the course. Thank you very much. It was wonderful.
You're very welcome. Very welcome.
The big question is, what happened to Aunt Panina tonight?
Yes. Is she okay?
Yes, I believe she is. I was messaging with her. She was on a trip to Melbourne to visit my other aunt. But thank you. First of all, thank you for asking. I will make sure she watches the end of this clip. Auntie Nina, we all miss you.
Yes.
She was
last week too.
right. She went to Melbourne, and the timing didn't work out so great. So that's why she wasn't here. But God willing, she will be watching the recording, so we can all say hello to Auntie Nina.
Yes. Hi, Auntie Nina.
Hi, Auntie Nina.
Yes. Hello. Be well.
Yes.
And Matt, I know that you were here for today. If there was something that you appreciated, or something that you learned today, we'd be happy if you'd like to share that.
The concept of intention and meditating with intention, which is giving both the gift of giving it to yourself, and as well as giving it, and so you can improve your own skills towards giving when you open up back out to others and the world around you. It just it brings the body into a body and mind into a nicer, seems like just a better space.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you all. And Joan, is your screen frozen? No, it's not frozen. If there was something that you wanted to share about the course material, you can let us know.
I just enjoyed what everybody said, and I appreciated what people said. And I feel the same way, that this, I thought was the best course that I've taken too, because
Me too.
it's more about life and how we live moment to moment, to connect with God and to be mindful of what we do, so that what we do is good and kind. And it's a wonderful, wonderful course, because God is here everywhere, the light, the energy of everything. So it's so beautiful, this course. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you all. And let's watch our wonderful meditation from our favorite rabbi from Australia, our other favorite rabbi from Australia, Rabbi Leibowolf.
Pleasant thoughts can instill joy. Your imagination can conjure up many beautiful things, and yet it can't match reality. The actual experience in real time, in real life, surpasses imagination. Gently close your eyes and become aware of how powerful your imagination is. Conjure up a picture of yourself flying through the air with ease, comfortably, like a bird. The imagination allows you places and experiences that are beyond the laws of nature, because imagination comes from a very profound spiritual source. Bring to mind someone you love profoundly, a child, a spouse, a good friend, whichever. Become aware of their absence. They are away from you, perhaps on a holiday, perhaps living in another city. In your mind, give them a hug, embrace them. How does that feel? Doesn't it feel wonderful? And yet, if you were to meet them personally, one-on-one, and embrace them in reality, would not that be even much more powerful? That's why when people are absent and our connectedness is breached. We yearn and want their presence. And when they are with us, we can create that presence, the wonderfulness of being truly one. Imagine the thought of doing a mitzvah, saying a nice word to someone who needs encouragement. And yet, all the good intentions don't measure up to actually saying it in real time, in real life. When we do a mitzvah in real time and real life, we embrace Hashem. We touch what we call atzmos, the very essence of godliness. Make a personal commitment after this session to experience an embrace of God through doing a very real mitzvah.
And that officially concludes the course. Thank you all for being here. It's been a great ride, and you've made it even so much better. True, we are not all present with one another, but we do see each other on the screen. And that creates a certain level of connection. Before we go, I want to show you the promo video for the next course starting shortly after Passover.
Really?
I think it's fascinating. I haven't yet received the teacher's manual on that one, but I am greatly looking forward to it. This course and the past course were very, very deep and very heavy. Looking forward to this. Looks more of an easy read. So I am looking forward to that as well. And the topic fascinates me. Oops, where are we? Right here. No. Here. Is this? Nope. Here. Okie dokie.
Beyond the Big Ten.
Oops. Okie dokie. Back to Zoom. Start share screen. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. And play.
Beyond the Big Ten, the Torah has 603 more commandments. Beyond religious practice, like Passover and Yom Kippur, much of Jewish law is surprisingly devoted to civil life, like commerce, neighbors, and damages. But every society establishes civil laws. So what makes these laws uniquely Jewish? A common goal to all civil systems is to create a safe and civil society. However, these civil laws are designed to create something else. Something that can only be identified by pinpointing the remarkable Jewish values on which Jewish law is based. Something, when discovered, revolutionizes your approach to everyday life. Join us for Beyond Right and discover the values that shape Judaism's civil code.
Okay.
Well, this is a question for me because the textbook came with this
Yes.
bookmarker, and so it's been sitting on my table, and it says what makes Jewish law Jewish. So now I'll be able to finally find the answer to that.
Okay. Looking forward. We hope to see you all there. Sign up link will go out probably in the coming weeks. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here. May God bless you. And you should have a happy and kosher Passover. If there's anything you need, matzah, wine, seder items, and are not able to find them or need help getting them, I will try my best, if you let me know, to help you get all those items. God bless you all again. And until we see each other next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and may we meet in Jerusalem.
Yes, Rabbi, Toda Rabah, Meod, Meod, Litro.
Very good Hebrew. Thank you, Leib Moshe.
Yes, God bless everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me tonight.
Good night, everybody. God bless. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Good night. Thank you, Reverend.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Rabbi.
Good night, Joan. I'll see you at the next
Okay, bye.
class.
Good night. Thank you, Moshe.
Okay.